Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Wherever you are in the world, I'm so glad you found this video because what I'm about to share with you could genuinely change the way you move, the way you feel, and the way you live for the rest of your life. Here's something that nobody told you when you turned 60. The first thing your body starts to sacrifice, quietly, without warning, often without pain, is your leg strength. Not your heart, not your lungs. Your legs? And by the time most people notice it, they've already lost 30 to 40% of the muscle mass they had at 40. That's not a scare tactic, that's biology. And today, we're going to fight back against it with something you already have access to, your kitchen. I'm Dr. Alan Mandel, and in my decades of clinical practice, I have watched thousands of patients over 60 struggle not because of some unavoidable disease, but because no one ever sat them down and said, here's exactly what your aging legs need to stay strong. Today, I'm going to do exactly that. A landmark study published by the University of Birmingham involving over 1,100 adults between the ages of 60 and 85 found that targeted nutritional intervention, specific foods eaten consistently, increased lower body muscle strength by up to 32% in just 16 weeks. 32% without a gym membership, without expensive supplements. Just food chosen wisely, eaten with intention. I want you to stay all the way to number 1 on our list because that particular food is one that most doctors never mention, and the research behind it will absolutely surprise you. But before we dive into this list, I want to ask you something personal. Leave a comment right now telling me your age and one word that describes how your legs have been feeling lately. Strong, stiff, tired, unreliable. I personally read every single comment on this channel, and your answer is going to help me create better content specifically for you. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please tap that button now because we post evidence-based health content every single week that your doctor simply doesn't have time to tell you in a 15-minute appointment. Now we're counting down from 10 to 1, ranked from highly effective to the most powerful leg-strengthening food I have ever seen, backed by science. Let's begin. Coming in at number 10 is the humble sardine. I know. Stay with me here. Most people either love sardines or they've never given them a real chance. But here is what those little fish are doing inside your aging legs that almost nothing else can replicate. Sardines are one of the single richest sources of calcium, vitamin D, and omega-3 fatty acids combined in one small package. Now, why does that matter for your legs specifically? After the age of 65, your body's ability to absorb calcium from food drops dramatically, by some estimates, up to 40% less efficiently than it did when you were 40. Your muscles, including every major muscle in your thighs, your calves, and your hamstrings, require calcium not just for your bones, but for the actual electrical signal that tells your muscle fibers to contract. Without adequate calcium, your muscles literally cannot fire properly. Researchers at Tufts University found that older adults with sufficient calcium and vitamin D intake had measurably greater quadriceps strength. Those are the large muscles at the front of your thigh compared to those who were deficient. Eat sardines 2 to 3 times per week, directly from the can with the bones if you can manage it, because the tiny bones are where the calcium is concentrated. Pair sardines with a squeeze of fresh lemon juice to enhance iron absorption, and eat them alongside a small salad dressed in olive oil to boost vitamin D absorption, since D is a fat-soluble vitamin that needs dietary fat to enter your bloodstream. Number 9 is something most seniors are eating, but not nearly enough of, and that's Greek yogurt. Here's the thing about muscle protein that your body changes dramatically after 60. Scientists call it anabolic resistance, which is a fancy term for your muscles becoming stubborn. When you were young, even a modest amount of protein in a meal triggered a robust muscle-building response. After 65, that trigger becomes much harder to pull. Your muscles need more protein, and more specifically, a faster digesting, high-quality protein to produce the same response. Greek yogurt contains what's called whey protein in its liquid component, along with casein protein in the solid curd. This combination provides both fast and slow amino acid delivery. Think of it like a delivery truck that arrives immediately with urgent supplies and then sends a second truck a few hours later with reinforcements. A study from Maastricht University in the Netherlands showed that older adults who consumed high-protein dairy twice daily preserved significantly more leg muscle mass over a 12-week period than those who ate standard protein amounts. Aim for 1 cup of plain, full-fat Greek yogurt in the morning, and consider a second serving as an evening snack. The evening timing is particularly important because your muscles do their repair and rebuilding work while you sleep. Pair it with a small handful of walnuts to add anti-inflammatory omega-3s that help the protein do its job more effectively. Number 8 is one you'll be happy about: eggs. Not just the whites, the whole egg. For years, seniors were told to limit their egg intake out of concern for cholesterol. But the research has shifted dramatically, and what we now know is that the yolk, the part many people were throwing away, contains the most important nutrients for leg muscle health. Egg yolks are rich in leucine, which is the most anabolic amino acid known to science, meaning it's the most powerful trigger for muscle protein synthesis. The yolk also contains vitamin B12, choline, and vitamin D, all of which play direct roles in muscle function and nerve signaling. After 75, nerve signal efficiency to the lower limbs begins to deteriorate, and the nutrients in egg yolks help maintain the myelin sheath, the protective coating around your nerve fibers, which keeps those signals fast and clean. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that whole egg consumption after resistance activity produced 40% greater muscle-building stimulation than egg whites alone in adults over 60. I want you to eat 2 to 3 whole eggs per day, ideally in the morning. Cook them gently, soft-boiled or lightly scrambled in a small amount of butter to preserve the delicate nutrients in the yolk. Pair them with spinach or any leafy green to combine the iron in eggs with vitamin C from the greens, which doubles your iron absorption rate. Number 7 brings us to one of my favorite patient stories. Margaret was 71 years old from Scottsdale, Arizona when she first came to see me. She told me she was afraid to walk down the stairs alone because her knees buckled unpredictably and her calves cramped painfully almost every evening. One of the first changes we made to her routine was adding sweet potatoes 4 times per week. Within 10 weeks, Margaret told me her evening cramps had almost entirely stopped and she was walking her neighborhood for 30 minutes every morning. Sweet potatoes are extraordinarily rich in potassium and magnesium, 2 minerals that your leg muscles depend on for proper contraction and relaxation. Magnesium deficiency, which affects an estimated 50 to 60% of adults over 65, directly causes muscle cramping, weakness, and fatigue in the lower limbs. Think of potassium and magnesium as the on-off switches for your muscle fibers. Without enough of them, your muscles stay in a partial state of tension, which is exhausting and painful. Sweet potatoes also contain beta-carotene, which the body converts to vitamin A, and this plays a role in reducing the oxidative stress that accelerates muscle aging. Bake your sweet potato rather than boiling it. Boiling leaches the potassium out into the water. Eat the skin when possible because a significant portion of the fiber and mineral content lives right beneath it. Pair it with a small drizzle of olive oil or a pat of butter to improve beta-carotene absorption. Number 6 is spinach, and the reason it works for aging legs goes far deeper than iron. Spinach contains a plant compound called phyto-EC-disteroids, specifically one called EC-disterone, and researchers at Freie Universität Berlin published findings showing that EC-disterone increased muscle protein synthesis in human cells more potently than many known anabolic compounds. This sounds almost too good to be true, but the research is there, and the reference link is in the description below. For seniors specifically, spinach provides an extraordinary combination of nitrates, which improve blood flow to working muscles, and folate, which supports the repair of muscle DNA. And yes, your muscle cells have DNA that gets damaged during the normal aging process and needs constant repair. 2 cups of fresh spinach or 1 cup cooked daily is an achievable target. Sauté it gently in a pan with garlic and olive oil. The heat breaks down the oxalates in spinach that can otherwise bind to minerals and reduce their absorption. Pair it with any food rich in vitamin C, like tomatoes or bell peppers, to triple your iron uptake from the spinach. Number 5 is wild salmon. And if you can only make one dietary upgrade after watching this video, let it be this one, or the number 1 item coming up. Wild salmon is perhaps the most complete muscle preservation food that exists for people over 60. It delivers high-quality, complete protein, the most potent form of omega-3 fatty acids called EPA and DHA, vitamin D, B vitamins, and the antioxidant astaxanthin, which gives salmon its pink color and is one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory compounds found in nature. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the primary drivers of what scientists call sarcopenia, which means age-related muscle loss. Every decade after 50, the average person loses somewhere between 3 and 8% of their muscle mass, and inflammation accelerates that loss significantly. The omega-3s in wild salmon essentially turn down the volume on that inflammatory process, creating a cellular environment where your muscles can actually hold on to their fibers and respond to activity. A study from the University of Washington showed that older adults who consumed omega-3 rich fatty fish at least twice weekly had 17% greater muscle strength scores than age-matched adults who did not. Aim for at least 2 servings of wild salmon per week, baked, poached, or pan-seared with minimal oil. Pair it with steamed broccoli because the sulforaphane in broccoli works synergistically with omega-3s to reduce the specific type of cellular inflammation that attacks leg muscle tissue. We are halfway through the list, and I have to say, if you are finding this information valuable, please take 3 seconds right now to tap the like button. It costs you nothing, and it tells YouTube that this content is worth sharing with more seniors who need it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that right now and hit the bell so you never miss a video. We are here every week with information that can genuinely extend your healthy, independent years. Number 4 is a food that surprises almost everyone, and that's beets. Yes, beets. James was 67 years old, a retired police officer from Cleveland, Ohio, who came to my practice complaining that his legs felt like lead after walking more than 10 minutes. He had no significant disease, reasonable blood pressure, and was otherwise active. We added beet juice to his morning routine, just 8 ounces, 5 days per week, and within 6 weeks he reported that his legs felt lighter, his endurance had improved noticeably, and he was walking 45 minutes without stopping. The science behind this is stunning. Beets are extraordinarily high in dietary nitrates, which the body converts to nitric oxide, a molecule that causes blood vessels to dilate or widen, allowing more oxygen-rich blood to reach your leg muscles during activity. A study published in the Journal of Applied Physiology found that older adults who consume beetroot juice had oxygen delivery to working muscles improve by up to 16%. For aging legs, this matters enormously because microvascular circulation, the tiny blood vessels that feed individual muscle fibers, begins to decline significantly after 65. Drink 8 ounces of fresh or cold-pressed beet juice or eat 1 to 2 medium beets roasted at least 3 times per week. Time it about 90 minutes before any physical activity for maximum effect. Pair beets with foods rich in vitamin C to enhance nitric oxide production and prevent its rapid breakdown. Number 3 is one of the oldest foods in human history, and modern science has confirmed what ancient healers always knew, and that's lentils. Lentils are extraordinary for aging legs because they solve a problem that very few people know they have. After 60, many seniors unconsciously reduce their overall food intake. Appetite decreases, portion sizes shrink, and this creates a protein and iron deficit that directly accelerates leg muscle loss. Lentils deliver plant-based protein, complex carbohydrates, iron, magnesium, folate, and zinc in a single, cheap, easy-to-cook package. The protein in lentils is particularly valuable because it's slower digesting than animal protein, which means it provides a sustained release of amino acids to your muscles over several hours, excellent for muscle preservation during long periods between meals. Researchers at the John Mayer USDA Human Nutrition Research Center on Aging at Tufts found that higher dietary zinc intake, and lentils are an excellent zinc source, was directly associated with greater muscle strength and physical performance in adults over 70. Eat half a cup to 1 cup of cooked lentils at least 4 times per week. Add them to soups, stew them with vegetables, or mash them into a simple dal. Pair lentils with a source of vitamin C. Tomatoes work beautifully because the vitamin C converts the plant-based iron in lentils into a form your body can actually absorb and use. Number 2 is something you likely have in your kitchen right now and have probably been underusing, and that's turmeric, specifically the active compound inside it called curcumin. Now, curcumin's anti-inflammatory reputation is well established, but what most people don't realize is how profoundly chronic muscle inflammation affects leg strength after 60. When your muscles are inflamed at a cellular level, not painfully inflamed like after an injury, but quietly, chronically inflamed in a way you cannot feel, they lose the ability to repair satellite cells, which are the tiny repair crews that patch and rebuild muscle fibers after daily activity. Think of satellite cells like construction workers. Chronic inflammation sends those workers home early every single day, so the repairs never get done fully. Over years, the muscle slowly deteriorates. Curcumin, as shown in research from the University of South Australia involving adults aged 60 to 85, reduced markers of muscle inflammation by up to 34% when consumed consistently over 8 weeks, and participants showed measurable improvements in lower body strength testing. The critical issue with turmeric is absorption. Curcumin on its own is very poorly absorbed by the human digestive system. The solution is simple, and it is this: always consume turmeric with black pepper. Black pepper contains a compound called piperine that increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. Always cook turmeric in a fat, olive oil, coconut oil, or butter because curcumin is fat soluble. Add half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of turmeric to soups, scrambled eggs, rice, or warm milk every single day. And now, the #1 most powerful food for strengthening aging legs after 60. And this is the one I promised you at the beginning that most doctors never mention. It is tart cherry. Not sweet cherries, not cherry-flavored products, tart cherries, specifically Montmorency tart cherries, either as whole frozen cherries, dried, or as pure tart cherry juice. Here is what makes this extraordinary. Tart cherries contain some of the highest concentrations of natural melatonin found in any food, and this connects to leg strength in a way that is deeply counterintuitive. After 70, sleep quality deteriorates significantly, and here is why that destroys leg muscle. 90% of human growth hormone, the hormone responsible for muscle repair and muscle protein synthesis, is released during deep sleep. If your sleep is fragmented and shallow, your legs are being robbed of their nightly repair cycle night after night, year after year. The melatonin in tart cherries, combined with their extraordinarily high anthocyanin content, the dark pigments that give them their color, has been shown in research from Louisiana State University to increase sleep efficiency in older adults by an average of 84 minutes of additional sleep per night. In that same study, participants showed improved next-day physical performance scores, with particularly notable improvements in lower body strength assessments. Beyond sleep, the anthocyanins in tart cherries are among the most potent natural inhibitors of the inflammatory enzymes COX-1 and COX-2, the same enzymes that ibuprofen targets, but without the gastrointestinal side effects that make anti-inflammatory medications so problematic for older adults. Drink 8 ounces of pure, unsweetened tart cherry juice twice daily, once in the morning and once about an hour before bed. If you prefer the whole fruit, half a cup of dried tart cherries achieves a similar effect. Pair tart cherry with magnesium-rich foods like pumpkin seeds or a small piece of dark chocolate to compound the sleep quality benefit, because magnesium and melatonin work in remarkable synergy to deepen and extend restorative sleep cycles. I want to leave you with something that I tell every patient I've ever had the privilege of sitting with. Strength is not something that belongs only to the young. The legs that have carried you through 60, 70, 80 years of life, through raising children, through work, through grief and joy and all of it, those legs still want to carry you further. They are not failing you. They are asking you for support in the form of nutrition, consistency, and the belief that it is not too late. Because it is never too late. I have watched 73-year-old women who could barely rise from a chair regain the ability to garden, to dance, to walk their grandchildren to school. I have watched 80-year-old men rediscover what it feels like to climb stairs without holding the railing. Not because of medication, not because of surgery, but because someone finally told them what their body needed and they had the courage to act on it. Your independence, your dignity, your quality of life, these are worth fighting for every single day. All scientific references for everything discussed in this video are linked in the description below. I encourage you to look them up and share them with your doctor. Now I want to hear from you. Leave a comment telling me which of these 10 foods you are going to start with, and tell me your age. I read every single comment personally. If this video helped you, please share it with someone you love who is over 60, because this information could genuinely change their life. Subscribe if you haven't already, hit that bell for notifications, and I will see you in the next video. Take care of those legs. They still have a long, beautiful road ahead of them.